void. Not just beyond me, but within. Always growing with more questions. My confidence shrinking under the weight of its emptiness.
Hey everybody, welcome to Community Group Curriculum this week as we're in our second week of the Problem of God series. My name's Chris, and I'm just excited to walk through these tough questions with you. Like, what are some things on Sunday that stood out to you? How can you wrestle with those? Can you talk with other people? How do you even practically apply some of the knowledge and the skepticism that we're facing every single week for the next 8 weeks as we go through the Problem of God series? Something that I'm really excited about in community groups, though, is that you guys get the chance to really get to know other people that you attend this body of believers, this church, this whole place with. And so I want to make that happen. So last week, we actually talked about, hey, what are 3 things going on in your life? Something you're excited about, like tell them a little bit about how you met Jesus or how you came to Village and also your name. I want to go this week a little bit deeper because community groups are not about surface level conversations, and that's good to get you into starting to know each other, but this week let's go a little bit deeper. Groups here, you have the opportunity to really be there for one another in really significant ways. Now when you think in a Christian circumstance or context, you think, man, prayer, of course, that's important. We need to be praying for each other. Yes, but I want to bring it 2 steps further. I want you now to go around in the circle and every single person here talk about one thing that you need prayer for, okay? One thing that you want to praise, that you want to celebrate together. And the third piece that we often don't get into is a practical need you might have. Now, not everybody in the group is going to have this, but God brings people together in special ways where sometimes where you bring a practical need and you weren't ready to tell anybody about it, but you bring it up, somebody might be able to meet that in your group. So I pray this happens. So we call them the 3 Ps. Sounds super lame, but a prayer item, a praise item, and a practical need. Let's share that with each other right now, every single person. And some of you groups, you might need to break up into smaller groups to get through everyone, so this doesn't take 17 hours, but just do that, okay, if you have to. Otherwise, let's go through that. A prayer item, a praise report, and then something really practical that someone in that group might be able to help you with. This last week, we went through a really big question, the problem of the existence of God. Is that something that you honestly struggle with sometimes? I know I do, where I have moments in my past where I feel, man, God has been so close to me. I felt him, I've experienced him. I feel like the Holy Spirit's been with me. And then there's times where I feel like he's just so distant. Is he even there? I mean, is he hearing my prayers? Are there reasons why I should even believe this stuff and put my life into it? I bet you've struggled with that too. And if we're honest, I mean, are there evidences around us that point to the existence of God? We talked about a lot of that on Sunday, but I want to give you the opportunity to talk to other people about it because maybe your questions weren't answered. And maybe they were. What were some of the things that you've historically struggled with around the existence of God? What helps you to remember and recognize that he does exist and how he loves you? What are things and cues and kind of hints in the world that tell you about his grace, his glory, and his love for you? Let's take some time right now to talk about the problem of the existence of God. Is that something you've struggled with? When? Where? When have you felt him close? When have you felt him far? What kind of practical things help you to remember that he's around and he loves you so much? I mean, for me, one of those things is journaling. When I spend time journaling and then later on I go back and I read those journal entries, they remind me of what God's done in my life and they encourage me to continue to believe in who he is and how he loves me. Let's talk about that now as groups.
Hey community groups, Pastor Mark here. Excited that we are in week 2 of our 4-step process through our campaign, our Village 2021 campaign. Glad you guys are in a community group. It's really the way that we're going to grow smaller as we grow larger as a church, as we like to say. And so as we go forward into this fall, really excited that you're here to connect with one another, pray for one another, get into each other's lives. It's awesome. Last week we did prayer, where you were supposed to take the week and just pray and ask God, what are you wanting myself, my family, my spouse, and I to give toward this Village 2021 campaign? This week is all about our second step, which is examine. So spend the next 7 days, and really what we need you to do is, now that you've prayed, examine your finances. Look into not just money that you have in the bank, but kind of the larger picture of any assets that you might have, property, land, RRSPs, stocks, things that you can then take and invest in the context of this campaign, because this is really kingdom. This is eternal significance stuff where we take what God has given us to steward and invest it in the kingdom. And so looking at your entire portfolio in regard to your finances and saying, okay, how do we use this, the things God has given to us, and actually invest it in this campaign to see the church collectively raise this $10 million by pledge, and to pledge it on October 15 and then have it in the bank by February 28. So this week is about examine, do that. I love you guys. Thank you for doing this. I'm just looking forward. I'm already hearing amazing stories about what God's doing and speaking to people and how people are giving. So I look forward to hearing those stories from you. Enjoy your time together in these groups, and let's just really spend this week looking at what God has given to us and how we give it back for the use of work in His kingdom. Thanks.